Is Cyrus Renault's character Jeff Kober at the General Hospital? According to General Hospital spoilers and rumors, Jeff Kober, Cyrus Renault, may be gone at GH based on the current plotlines. Since he is a recurrent actor rather than a contract actor, he has already left and returned a few times, but given the high number of Digitalis deaths, his days may be coming to an end. Jeff Kober has been intermittently portraying Cyrus since 2020. 5 years ago, on February 5, 2020, Jeff Kober made a dramatic debut in the General Hospital universe by playing the infamous Cyrus Renault. He has evolved into the ultimate evil since that terrible day, even alienating his own sister, Mayor Laura Spencer Collins Jeannie Francis, who tries her best to keep him at bay. She does, however, have a nice relationship with Martin Gray, Michael E. Knight, Cyrus's full brother and Laura's half-sister. However, Cyrus manages to sneak into her life like a snake in the grass, most lately focusing on her daughter Lulu Spencer, Alexa Havens, who has just woken up from a coma. As a self-described follower of God, Cyrus asserts that he has found the divine way and is carrying out godly actions. Nobody has purchased a Renault. Cyrus's spiritual rebirth and redemption. But let's face it, Laura claims that his purported redemption has been a charade from the beginning. As Laura always does, Portia Robinson, Brooke Kerr, has also seen through his ruse, even though some people may have fallen for it. Another questionable character was Officer Dex Heller, Evan Hofer, who was killed by Cyrus after he stabbed him unsuccessfully and used Digitalis to inject his bag. It's likely that Cyrus will be the target of the next murder mystery, this time to get revenge for the lives he took. Generally speaking, villains die and don't eerily reappear repeatedly, unless you're a Cassadine. Steve Burton and Bradford Anderson seems to hint at a secret. Steve Burton, Jason Morgan, and Bradford Anderson, Damian Spinelli, talked about the Digitalis killer plot and appeared to hint to a secret on their podcast. In the context of "he didn't know this," Steve specifically referenced Jeff, and Bradford continued to remark, "There's a killer on the loose." Steve went on to explain that performers only know the parts they play and what is in their scripts. They don't know entire plots. It seemed like they were talking about Jeff Kober's position on the show. For a villain of this size, time seemed to be running out. Usually, a murderer such as Cyrus disappears shortly after their dramatic disclosure. Are we seeing Cyrus Renault's last curtain call? And is Jeff Kober getting ready to say goodbye to GH forever? Which is more dangerous, Sidwell or Lucky? Hospital General, two powerful forces might be set to clash, according to spoilers. Everyone is tense about Jen Sidwell's Carlo Rhoda visit, especially Mayor Laura Collins Jeannie Francis, who is wondering which of her sons is more dangerous. Laura is aware that Lucky Spencer, played by Jonathan Jackson, would interpret Sidwell's daring geographic maneuver as an invitation to launch a conflict, even though Sidwell may have a grudge against him. When Lucky finds out that the man who held him captive in Africa is hiding on Spoon Island and might be preparing his next attack, will he be able to control the new aggressive part of his personality? Sidwell is in Port Charles, but why? Sidwell's visit to Port Chuck is not cordial. He is back, and he might be in town with a grudge after being targeted in Somalia by Lucky, Jason Morgan, Steve Burton, Anna Devane, Finola Hughes, and Holly Sutton, Emma Sams. Is he focusing on the people who have harmed him? Does he intend to avenge himself? Or did Lucky and his rescue team just introduce him to the prosperous port city that has been so successful for Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Bernard Enterprises? Sidwell's presence might begin to loom large over the city, and his every action might allude to a lethal game of revenge. How far will he go to make amends, though, and who will be his first target? A lucky person might choose this battle. Laura has expressed her worries about her Lucky in public. She had good reason to believe that he was acting differently this time. He is obviously frustrated and angry, and like his beloved father Luke Spencer, Anthony Geary, he has developed a taste for riskier work. Laura worries that her son may seek revenge on Sidwell since he is angry and traumatized. Motivated by his ambition to pursue justice to the farthest extent possible, Lucky might very well turn this into a personal grudge. Laura is aware of Lucky's strength, but the idea of him turning into the same thing he has fought against is a mother's worst nightmare. In this volatile situation, will he be the one to spark the match? Sidwell is a strategic. There might be a surprise turn in store. What if Sidwell's actual objective is someone completely different from those from his past? Sidwell may not be in Port Charles for the reasons everyone believes, according to circulating rumors. Is he the mastermind behind the latest attack on Sunny, in which a bomb was detonated in the Don's apartment, seriously injuring Michael Corinthos, Chad Duell? According to this theory, a violent act against Sunny would be a frightening tactic to upset the balance of power in their little village. If Sidwell is indeed responsible, his scheme is more darker and more intricate than simple retaliation against a dishonest humanitarian aid worker. It's about taking control, maybe even displacing the shadows while everyone else is preoccupied with personal grudges. To find out how this turns out, keep checking back for more GH spoilers and news. Is Jeff Kober, Cyrus Renaud, out at General Hospital? Jeff Kober's status on General Hospital. Is it the end for Cyrus Renaud? General Hospital spoilers and rumors suggest that Jeff Kober, who portrays the sinister Cyrus Renaud, could be on his way out. Based on recent developments in the storyline and the nature of his character's trajectory, speculation is rife that Kober's time on the ABC soap may be drawing to a close. However, as a recurring actor rather than a contract one, Kober has previously exited and returned multiple times. Given the deadly Digitalis poisoning storyline, there's reason to believe that his character's days may be numbered. Will Cyrus meet the fate of many villains before him, or will he slither out of trouble yet again? Jeff Kober's General Hospital journey, a villain unlike any other. Jeff Kober first stepped onto the General Hospital canvas as the ruthless Cyrus Renaud on February 5, 2020. From the moment he arrived, he made waves as a formidable antagonist, going head-to-head with multiple characters, including his own sister, Mayor Laura, Spencer, Collins, Jeannie Francis. Unlike Laura's other brother, Martin Gray, Michael E. Knight, who has found a way to be a part of her life, Cyrus has been the perennial troublemaker, always lurking in the shadows. Cyrus has recently shifted his focus to Laura's daughter, Lulu Spencer, Alexa Havens, who has just emerged from a coma. His involvement with Lulu raises the stakes for Laura and the residents of Port Charles, making it clear that he remains as dangerous as ever. Even though Cyrus has repeatedly claimed to have turned over a new leaf, finding religion and preaching divine redemption, very few are convinced. His insistence on being a man of God is widely seen as yet another manipulative ploy, and for good reason. Cyrus' fake redemption. No one's buying it. Despite his numerous assertions that he has found faith and changed for the better, Laura remains skeptical, as do many others in Port Charles. Portia Robinson, Brooke Kerr, has also been vocal about her doubts, refusing to trust Cyrus' newfound righteousness. One of the most shocking recent events was the murder of Officer Dex Heller, Evan Hofer, a crime that further cements Cyrus' place as one of the town's most dangerous figures. After a failed stabbing attempt, Cyrus finished Dex off by injecting his forebag with Digitalis, proving that he has no hesitation when it comes to eliminating those who stand in his way. With this latest act of brutality, it seems likely that Cyrus will become the next major murder mystery victim. The people of Port Charles may finally have their chance to rid themselves of him once and for all. The big question is, who will be the one to take him down? Is a whodunit murder mystery on the horizon? Soap operas thrive on shocking twists and intense drama, and a character like Cyrus Renaud is the perfect candidate for a dramatic send-off. Historically, General Hospital villains, unless they're Cassidines, don't stick around for long once they've been unmasked as major threats. Given the number of enemies Cyrus has accumulated, it wouldn't be surprising if he becomes the centerpiece of a thrilling whodunit storyline. There are several potential suspects who might want Cyrus dead. Laura Collins, who has had enough of his dangerous games. Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Bernard, whose empire Cyrus has threatened multiple times. Portia Robinson, who despises him for the harm he's caused. Martin Gray, who may finally turn against his own brother. Lulu Spencer, seeking revenge after waking up from her coma. If General Hospital does opt for a murder mystery plot, it could be one of the most explosive storylines in recent memory. Bradford Anderson and Steve Burton tease a secret. Adding fuel to the fire, Bradford Anderson, Damian Spinelli, and Steve Burton, Jason Morgan, recently discussed the Digitalis killer storyline on their podcast, teasing that something big was coming. Bradford repeatedly said, "There's a killer on the loose," while Steve mentioned Jeff Kober by name, hinting that something major is unfolding behind the scenes. While actors don't always have full knowledge of upcoming storylines, their conversations strongly suggested that Kober's time on General Hospital might be coming to an end. With the evidence mounting, the possibility of Cyrus Renault's demise seems increasingly likely. What's next for Jeff Kober? If Jeff Kober is indeed leaving General Hospital, it wouldn't be the first time he has exited the show, only to return later. As a seasoned character actor with an extensive television and film career, he could easily move on to other projects. However, given General Hospital's penchant for unexpected twists, there's always a chance that Cyrus could escape justice yet again. If he does, he might return in an even more dangerous and unpredictable fashion. Final thoughts. Is this the end for Cyrus Renault? At this point, all signs indicate that Cyrus Renault may not be long for this world. His list of enemies continues to grow, his crimes are becoming more severe, and a classic soap opera murder mystery seems like the perfect way to wrap up his storyline. However, nothing is ever set in stone in the soap world. Could Cyrus find a way to evade justice once more? Or is Jeff Kober preparing to say his final goodbyes to General Hospital? Fans will have to stay tuned to see how this high-stakes drama unfolds. If this truly is the end for Cyrus, one thing is certain: his departure will leave a lasting impact on Port Charles, and his reign of terror will not be forgotten anytime soon. Is Jeff Kober, Cyrus Renault, out at General Hospital? General Hospital spoilers and rumors tease. According to how the current storylines are going, Jeff Kober, Cyrus Renault, could be out at GH. But then, as he is a recurring actor and not a contract actor, he's left and returned a few times already, but with so many Digitalis deaths, his days may be numbered. Jeff Kober has been playing Cyrus on and off since 2020. Jeff Kober made a striking entrance into the world of General Hospital 5 years ago, stepping into the role of the notorious Cyrus Renault on February 5, 2020. Since that fateful day, he has become the ultimate villain, even alienating his own sister, Mayor Laura Spencer Collins, Jeannie Francis, who does her best to keep him at arm's length. Although she's friendly with the more acceptable brother, Martin Gray, Michael E. Knight, who is Cyrus' whole sibling and Laura's half. Yet, like a snake in the grass, Cyrus finds ways to infiltrate her life, recently setting his sights on her daughter, Lulu Spencer, Alexa Havens, who has just emerged from a coma. Cyrus, a self-proclaimed devotee of God, claims to have discovered the divine path and insists he is performing godly deeds. No one has bought Renault's Cyrus redemption and spiritual rebirth. But let's be real, his so-called redemption has been nothing but a facade from the start, according to Laura, at least. While few may have bought into his act, Portia Robinson, Brooke Kerr, also has seen right through his charade, as Laura always has. Another who is quite suspicious was Officer Dex Heller, Evan Hofer, who met his end when Cyrus finished him off, injecting his forebag with Digitalis when stabbing him didn't work. Chances are, Cyrus is headed for being the subject of the next whodunit murder, this time for vengeance over the lives of those he ended. Unless you're a Cassadine, usually villains come to their end and don't mysteriously return, sometimes several times. Bradford Anderson and Steve Burton seemed to tease a secret. On Bradford Anderson, Damian Spinelli, and Steve Burton's Jason Morgan podcast, they discussed the Digitalis killer storyline and seemed to tease a secret. Bradford kept saying, "There's a killer on the loose," and Steve mentioned Jeff by name, in the context of, he didn't know this. Steve then explained actors don't know whole storylines, they just know the parts they play, and what is in their scripts. They appeared to be discussing Jeff Kober's status on the show. The clock seems to be ticking for the villain of this magnitude. Typically, a killer like Cyrus doesn't stick around long after their shocking reveal. So, is Jeff Kober preparing to bid farewell to GH for good? And what about Cyrus Renault? Are we witnessing his final curtain call? Who is the bigger threat, Lucky Spencer or Jen Sidwell? General Hospital is no stranger to thrilling conflicts, but the arrival of Jen Sidwell, Carlo Rota, has raised serious concerns for both the residents of Port Charles and fans alike. The central question remains, who is the greater threat, Lucky Spencer, Jonathan Jackson, or the seemingly vengeful Sidwell? With Mayor Laura Collins, Jeannie Francis, questioning the danger level posed by both men, tensions are at an all-time high. Sidwell's mysterious arrival in Port Charles. Sidwell's presence in Port Charles is anything but coincidental. Having been targeted by Lucky, Holly Sutton, Emma Sams, Anna Devane, Finola Hughes, and Jason Morgan, Steve Burton, in Somalia, Sidwell's return suggests unfinished business. But is his arrival merely about seeking revenge, or does he have grander ambitions? Sidwell has always been a calculated strategist, operating in the shadows. He understands power dynamics well enough to know that launching an attack directly could expose him too soon. His move to Spoon Island, historically a location of mystery and subterfuge, hints at a long-term plan, one that could shake the foundations of Port Charles. Lucky Spencer, a man on the edge. Lucky Spencer has had a tumultuous past, but his recent behavior suggests he's walking a fine line between justice and vengeance. His mother, Laura, has taken notice of the shift in his demeanor, recognizing that he's more dangerous than before. Could his time in captivity have left him with a thirst for retribution? Much like his father, Luke Spencer, Anthony Gary, Lucky has always been drawn to adventure and justice. But the latest version of Lucky seems darker, driven by pain and loss rather than the idealistic hope that once defined him. If he allows his emotions to dictate his actions, he might be the one to escalate the situation, leading to a full-scale war with Sidwell. Sidwell's possible hidden agenda. It's easy to assume that Sidwell has returned simply to retaliate against those who wronged him. However, recent events suggest there might be another reason he's lurking in Port Charles. Rumors have begun circulating that he might be the mastermind behind the recent attack on Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Bernard. A bomb planted in Sonny's penthouse left Michael Corinthos, Chad Duell, severely injured, sending shockwaves through the crime world. Could this be a carefully crafted move to destabilize Sonny's empire? If Sidwell is indeed behind it, then his goal might not be personal revenge at all. It could be about taking control. By using violence and chaos to shift the balance of power, Sidwell could be positioning himself as a silent ruler, manipulating the key players in Port Charles to his advantage. The brewing conflict. Who will strike first? With both men on a collision course, the question remains, who will make the first move? Sidwell, methodical and strategic, may prefer to play the long game, orchestrating events from the shadows. Lucky, on the other hand, has become unpredictable, a man driven by passion and fury. If Lucky confronts Sidwell head-on, it could lead to devastating consequences, not just for him but for the entire town. Laura fears that her son is acting on raw emotion rather than logic. His relentless pursuit of justice might cause him to cross moral lines, mirroring the very enemy he seeks to defeat. Port Charles on high alert. As Sidwell settles into town and Lucky grows increasingly volatile, Port Charles is bracing for impact. The people of this city have faced their fair share of villains, but this situation is different. It's not just about good versus evil. This is a battle of strategy, power, and personal demons. Laura Collins stands at the center of it all, a mother torn between protecting her son and ensuring that the city remains safe. Her attempts to mediate could prove futile if Lucky refuses to listen to reason. Meanwhile, if Sonny learns that Sidwell is behind the attack on his family, there's no telling how far he will go to eliminate the threat. What's next for Lucky and Sidwell? The tension between these two men will undoubtedly come to a head, but how it unfolds remains to be seen. If Lucky allows his anger to consume him, he might make reckless choices that endanger not only himself, but those around him. Conversely, if Sidwell's plans are as insidious as they seem, Port Charles could be facing a new kind of villain, one who prefers to work in the shadows, striking only when the moment is right. With alliances shifting and danger looming, General Hospital fans are in for an explosive storyline. Will Lucky find a way to harness his rage for justice, or will he become the very threat he seeks to eliminate? Will Sidwell's calculated plans be exposed before he does irreversible damage? The only certainty is that Port Charles is in for a storm unlike any before. Stay tuned for more GH news and spoilers to see how this thrilling battle unfolds. General Hospital spoilers and rumors tease according to how the current storylines are going. Jeff Kober, Cyrus Renaud, could be out at GH. But then, as he is a recurring actor and not a contract actor, he's left and returned a few times already, but with so many Digitalis deaths, his days may be numbered. Jeff Kober has been playing Cyrus on and off since 2020. Jeff Kober made a striking entrance into the world of General Hospital 5 years ago, stepping into the role of the notorious Cyrus Renaud on February 5, 2020. Since that fateful day, he has become the ultimate villain, even alienating his own sister, Mayor Laura Spencer Collins, Jeannie Francis, who does her best to keep him at arm's length. Although she's friendly with the more acceptable brother, Martin Gray, Michael E. Knight, who is Cyrus' whole sibling and Laura's half. Yet, like a snake in the grass, Cyrus finds ways to infiltrate her life, recently setting his sights on her daughter, Lulu Spencer, Alexa Havens, who has just emerged from a coma. Cyrus, a self-proclaimed devotee of God, claims to have discovered the divine path and insists he is performing godly deeds. No one has bought Renaud's Cyrus redemption and spiritual rebirth. But let's be real, his so-called redemption has been nothing but a facade from the start, according to Laura at least. While a few may have bought into his act, Portia Robinson, Brooke Kerr, also has seen right through his charade, as Laura always has. Another who is quite suspicious was Officer Dex Heller, Evan Hofer, who met his end when Cyrus finished him off, injecting his forebag with Digitalis when stabbing him didn't work. Chances are, Cyrus is headed for being the subject of the next whodunit murder, this time for vengeance over the lives of those he ended. Unless you're a Cassadine, usually villains come to their end and don't mysteriously return, sometimes several times. Bradford Anderson and Steve Burton seemed to tease a secret. On Bradford Anderson, Damian Spinelli, and Steve Burton's Jason Morgan podcast, they discussed the Digitalis killer storyline and seemed to tease a secret. Bradford kept saying, "There's a killer on the loose," and Steve mentioned Jeff by name, in the context of, he didn't know this. Steve then explained actors don't know whole storylines, they just know the parts they play, and what is in their scripts. They appear to be discussing Jeff Kober's status on the show. The clock seems to be ticking for the villain of this magnitude. Typically, a killer like Cyrus doesn't stick around long after their shocking reveal. So, is Jeff Kober preparing to bid farewell to GH for good? And what about Cyrus Renaud? Are we witnessing his final curtain call?